One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. To let from the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Well, it is another beautiful, beautiful morning, and it stopped raining, actually. It stopped raining over here. It's been raining kind of nonstop, but good morning to everybody, man. Hopefully you all are having a fantastic morning, evening, afternoon, wherever the hell you guys are from, man. We have a very good one. Lots of stuff going on in the media this morning. So we're going to be looking at a live look of the RFK Jr. confirmation vote, as well as Kash Patel nomination meeting, because they did postpone that, I guess, a week or 2 weeks, because they wanted to try to get some sort of investigation done with Kash Patel. And then new Trump orders, as well as some crazy winter storm updates. And of course, there's been some updates, regards to Gaza. We're going to get into that here in a minute, being reported by the Associated Press. And believe it or not, there was 28 people killed this morning. Well, to us, morning. In Germany, there was a car that I don't know what the story is, but there was a car that initially hit 20 plus people, and they didn't know how many people actually got hit originally. Now they're saying 28 people are injured. So we're going to get into the craziness. And then we're actually going to get a little bit of the how, I'm going to go ahead and back us up a little bit. But before we do all of that, make sure you guys hit that like button. Number one metric of all of YouTube, and it helps out the show, and it's free. You know what I mean? Come on, man. If you guys are brand new to the show, hitting that subscribe button, it's also free. Please consider becoming a member, starting only at $2.99 a month. We made sure it's not going to break the bank for anybody, hopefully. And if it would, don't become a member. Listen, man, every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. CST, we have our breakfast club members only live streams, man. It's really a good time over there. Also, follow my Instagram right here at BallValve TV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my lifestyle, but of the show, and as well as Millennial Food Time, man. And if you guys are into Discord, by the way, hit that link in the description down below of any video of mine, and we will have the Discord posted for anybody. Last but not least, before we get into the madness, of course, every super chat, super sticker, channel membership sign up, as well as gifted memberships are going to be shouted out and shown onto the show. But if you guys would like to help out the show monetarily and skip that brutal YouTube 30% cut, we have these scrolling for the remainder of the show, man. And of course, I will shout out your name and the platform it comes on, and your message if you decide to send something over there. Good morning. We got Papa Penguin up in here. Stoked to see Tulsi got the thumbs up. Yes, she did. Hopefully RFK and Patel get in. I have a sneaky suspicion that RFK Jr. is going to get in and Patel is not. That's just I'm just telling you how I feel. That doesn't mean it's fucking gonna be right, but that's how I feel. What's up, Steve? We've got Evil Rick as well as Steve Easy. Good to see you guys, man. S&S as well. Tiffany. Hopefully Lee is feeling better today. That's for damn sure. Last round of storms are leaving a mess. Snowfall followed by ice. Yeah, that sucks. Stuff is now melting, but wind has kicked up. Down trees and power lines everywhere. Damn. Fuck that. Yeah, it's good. It's nice weather here, dude. Like, it's overcast here, a little bit of wind, but that's it. It's like I think right now, let me get a temperature check from all of you guys first of all, but I'm also going to check right this. Oh, it did cool down. Right this second, it's 43 degrees. 43. Yep. High today will be 51. Rabbit of Chaos, good to see you as well. Shit. Guys, is that where my pillow guy gets his cotton? Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Fucking crazy over here. Johnny Reno, morning. Hopefully you're doing good and chilling, relaxing. Max on cushion, some people outside school. I just had to do it. I had to continue that. What's up, Vengeful Truther? Always good to see you as well. Up there in Canada, dude. Absolutely. As well as Matt High. Shit. Good to see you guys, man. I'm trying to say hi to everybody real quick. And then we're going to get into the fucking madness. Yes, like button and left-handed tobacco all around. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know the deal. I love that shit. All right, let's go ahead and see what is going on. Also, I wanted to bring this back because this was yesterday. Okay, everybody? This was yesterday. And as you guys know, I had a show last night on the Diamond Effect. And it was in regards to Doge and Elon Musk. And the left has kind of gone senile on the situation of Musk and, Doge itself. And people are like, oh, this is just becoming like, no, dude, like motherfucker ran on this shit. Meaning both of them actually, but Trump ran on having fucking Elon Musk by his side and having him do exactly what he's doing. So anyways, I wanted to show this yesterday, but it was a little bit too long of a video for me to really present on, where we're having active discussion in the moment. But I have this this is yesterday, right before we went on live. We had Caroline Leavitt. She's the spokesperson for the White House. Okay. She does a fan-fucking-tastic job in general, but I wanted to show this off to you guys. It's kind of a short clip, but I wanted to still show it. So anyways, this was yesterday afternoon.
On Doge and the fraud claims, Elon Musk in the Oval yesterday gave us some information on that. We're just wondering if there's some proof, evidence. Is the White House willing to share evidence of those fraud claims, or can Elon Musk come to the briefing room and share material evidence of what he's talking about?
Sure. I would love for Elon Musk to come to the briefing room. That's why we had him go to the Oval Office yesterday, where I think he provided great answers. He was speaking in layman's terms, speaking common sense to all of you in the media, but also
I fucking love this woman right here.
To Americans at home, but I would say especially to all of you in the media, because I think it's a real fallacy that there's this alleged lack of transparency when it comes to Doge.
Right.
President Trump and Elon Musk have been incredibly transparent on what Doge is doing. There is an X account with the Doge handle. They are tweeting out what they are doing on a daily basis. They have a website where they are posting the receipts of the contracts that they are reviewing and the payments that they have stopped from going out the door. The secretaries of our departments have stopped from going out the door. And I would also say that before it was Elon Musk making our government efficient and accountable, it was some unnamed bureaucrat that none of you knew. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. He's also now one of the most highly scrutinized men in the world alongside President Trump because of what he's doing and the access that he is allowing. So there.
See, Hardwire, I just look at all of it as really, honestly, like I have a platform. This is let me kind of clear this. I have a platform and I get to speak in front of a camera 6 days a week, 7 times. You know what I mean? 6 days a week, 7 times. I'm on camera nonstop. A lot of people don't have the capacity to be able to even do that. Most people, if they're going to have a show, it's usually, once or twice a week or whatever. And I don't dog anybody for that. Now, I started the Diamond Effect about a year and a few months ago or whatever. And I started it with Archbishop. And then, of course, we had Aaron join in actually fairly early on into because he had good insights. And I look at it as content, you know? So I allow these people to go ahead and speak their piece, whether I agree with it or not. Because first of all, I can counter this anytime I want, whether it be right then and there or right like later, like how I'm doing right now, you know, type of thing. I have a platform to be able to do that. And yeah, I do give pushback. And you saw Aaron actually do a decent job of pushback yesterday, which was fantastic as well. I looked at it as fantastic conversation.
There's great transparency. As for the actual receipts, we are happy to provide them. And I actually brought some today because all of you know I love
she is a W, dude. She is a W.
Bring the receipts. We have contracts upon contracts that we can send and provide this information to you. Let me be very clear. We are not trying to hide anything. We have been incredibly transparent and we will continue to be. These are screenshots of contracts that DOJ found across our government. This is a DEI contract, $36,000 for U.S. citizenship in
Yo, Tats and Mr. Good to see you both in here.
Immigration services. That is against the president's policies and his America First agenda. This is a $3.4 million contract, a Council for Inclusive Innovation at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Department of Commerce, another DEI contract that DOJ identified. I can continue to go through these. Oh, I love this one. $57,000 for climate change in Sri Lanka. What is this doing to continue the interests of the American people? Absolutely nothing. These are the line items across the federal government that DOJ.
But you definitely know, Papa, that I do not do that. You know what I mean?
Is identifying daily. They're moving very fast. There's
good morning, allegedly.
A lot of paper that we can show you, but we're happy to do it. This administration has been more than transparent about what DOJ is doing. And here's one of their tweets that they posted about the mine. I believe this is in Pennsylvania, where the federal employee retirement system is being processed. Did anybody know this was even happening in our country before Elon Musk talked about it in the Oval Office yesterday? A lot of Americans didn't. So we are providing transparency and accessibility on a daily basis when it comes to DOJ. And I also have a DOJ daily report, if anybody would like it, on all of the things that they are identifying and finding. We're happy to provide this information to you. We're talking about it every single day.
Are all those things you just mentioned fraud, or are they waste, or are they just contrary to the president's policies?
I would argue that all of these things are fraudulent, they are wasteful, and they are an abuse of the American taxpayer's dollar. This is not what the government should be spending money on.
Hey, VT, to answer this, no, she actually sleeps ever since she was a baby. I mean, brand fucking new. She slept all the way through the night. Always. She sleeps either right above my head on the pillow, or she sleeps under the actual sheets with me. It's hilarious, dude. Yeah. So Lucy, she don't bug me at all. It's usually in the evenings that she gets like fucking, it's like Hamas up in this bitch. You know what I mean? She is like full on. Oh, shit. She is full on, dude, sometimes, but she doesn't ever wake me up or anything.
It's contrary to the president's priorities and agenda. And again, we can continue to provide you the receipts for all of the fraud, waste, and abuse. And if anybody in here wants to argue that the federal government is not fraudulent in some capacity, be my guest, because I think the American people watching at home would beg to differ.
Caroline.
Mary.
Did you hear how she just ended that shit? Oh my God, this woman is awesome. Let me go and back that up a little bit.
Argue that the federal government is not fraudulent in some capacity, be my guest, because I think the American people watching at home would beg to differ. Mary.
More on the judges. Does the White House believe the courts have the authority to issue these nationwide injunctions?
We believe that the injunctions that have been issued by these judges have no basis in the law and have no grounds. And we will, again, as the president said very clearly yesterday, comply with these orders. But it is the administration's position that we will also ultimately be vindicated. And the president's executive actions that he took were completely within the law. They were constitutional. And we look forward to the day where he can continue to implement his agenda.
We got a Glenn Raid up in the building. Shout out to my man out there in California. Hey, very much appreciate you, kind sir, picking me out of all people. You know, man, I very much appreciate that. Hopefully you guys are all having a fantastic, beautiful morning like I am. I am having a fantastic one. We cracked open a beer, actually. Mike is about to have a Mike's. Feels ultra good. But thank you to Glenn and everybody coming in and hanging out with us. This morning, we're covering RFK Jr. Confirmation vote, as well as Kash Patel nomination meeting, some new Trump executive orders, as well as the winter storms. And this is just covering yesterday, right before we get into it. This is covering the White House briefing on Elon Musk, because I had a show yesterday, a little bit of a debate, a little bit of a conversation about Doge and if they're doing what's righteous or not, and coming with facts. Anyways, so very much appreciate all of you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube. Helps out the show immensely, and it's free.
And I would just add, it's our view that this is the continuation of the weaponization of justice that we have seen against President Trump. He fought it for 2 years on the campaign trail. It won't stop him now. Brian.
Yes. I want to go back to Doge just for a second. Earlier, the subcommittee headed by Chairman Marjorie Taylor Greene, her and her staff discovered $2.7 trillion in improper
trillion with a T, by the way,
payments to Medicare, Medicaid, overseas, to people who should not have gotten it. Some of this room might have missed that press conference. Can you elaborate on what the president is thinking at this point?
Well, again, that's another example. There's a very long list of the fraud, waste, and abuse that Doge is identifying on a daily basis. Elon Musk also talked about yesterday about Social Security payments that are going out the door for people who are no longer with us. Unfortunately, I would say that is certainly fraud. There's also a lot of contracts they've identified that, just as a hypothetical example, are $1 million, but only 500,000 went out the door. So where's the rest of that cash? And so,
nope, this is exactly why we're doing what we do, Papa. At least on my side, I don't care if they're on my team or not. You got to keep everybody accountable. Hence, what the media was even made for in the very first place, was to hold people of power and office accountable. You know what I mean? So now we got the independent media, who really does a fantastic job at holding people accountable, because we all know the mainstream media is not going to fucking hold anybody accountable that's on their side of the agenda, right? And so we know that a certain star state also owns all the media, you know, just is what it is. Just saying, you know what I mean? So independent media, you guys have made that fucking shit possible.
So that's the thing. Those are the things that Doge is working on every single day. And I would just remind everybody in this room, this is what President Trump campaigned on doing. He's delivering on a promise that 77 million people elected him to do.
And that's actually what I fucking said yesterday. That's what I said last night on the Diamond Effect right there. Fantastic. She did a fantastic job right there. I'm not going to even lie. She just totally fucking boot stomp them motherfuckers. All right, let's go ahead and get into the media today. This shit was, what we just saw was from yesterday afternoon. I figured that we would go ahead and show that real quick, considering I had a show on that last night. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into this morning's news. So we've got an update of what's going on with Gaza. Let's go ahead and check it out real quick.
Right now, taking you out to Rafah, Gaza, where destruction still seems to be prevalent. Also, we see aid trucks entering the area in real time. Following breaking news this Thursday morning from the Associated Press, Hamas saying it would release the...
Dude, and that's something that I was saying. It's like, if you are actually upset that we have Elon Musk or anybody that is looking for your tax dollars that you fucking made and that you paid, it's kind of crazy to me that anybody would be upset with like finding fraud and finding wasteful spending on our tax dollars. I don't care what team you're on. I don't care if that was a liberal doing that shit. I'd be like, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, get rid of all this bullshit. But see, they just hate it because a lot of their shit, their policies, their shit was funded by it, not the Republicans and not the conservatives. So makes sense. Makes sense, you know. Anyways.
The next group of Israeli hostages, as planned, apparently
What's
resolving
up,
a
Lumpy?
major dispute that threatened the ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. The militant group saying Egyptian and Qatari mediators have affirmed that they will work to, quote, remove all hurdles and that it would implement the ceasefire deal. The statement indicated 3 more Israeli hostages would be freed Saturday. There was no immediate comment from Israel.
Yo,
after
by the way, Beezer, the old Beezer Geezer dude, coming in with that membership, bro. Thank you. Very much appreciate your patronage over to the channel, my man. Always appreciate you.
Hamas's announcement. Hamas's move would allow the ceasefire in the Gaza Strip to continue for now, but its future, it does remain in doubt. Hamas had threatened to delay the next release of Israeli hostages, accusing Israel of failing to meet its obligations to allow in tents and shelters, among other alleged violations of the truce.
What's up, Pain Zombie Ghosting? What's up, my man? I like that profile picture you got
Israel,
there.
with
Nice.
the support of U.S.
Shit.
President Donald Trump, had threatened to renew its offensive if hostages were not freed. Hamas goes on to say,
So there's going to be another wave of another 3 hostages that they're talking about here. Interesting. So we got Mr. Boulay, by the way. We got Alabama's finest up in here saying good morning, folks. Working and lurking. Hey, man, always appreciate the lurk, man. Listen, each view counts, man.
to the Associated Press that its delegation held talks in Cairo with Egyptian officials and was in contact with Qatar's prime minister about increasing the entry of shelters, medical supplies, fuel, and
Shit.
heavy equipment for clearing rubble in Gaza. Egypt's state-run TV, local media close to the country's security services, reports to AP that Egypt and Qatar had succeeded in resolving the dispute. The 2 Arab countries have served as key mediators with Hamas and helped broker the ceasefire, which took effect in January, 15 months into the war. So this is news we are getting bright and early this Thursday morning. Again, this coming in from the Associated Press, Hamas saying it will release more Israeli hostages as planned, apparently resolving the ceasefire dispute. As you can imagine, this is an ongoing conversation and developing story. So make sure you're staying tuned right here to Live Now from Fox for the latest details. 6:03 here on the East Coast, and we do want to continue with other top stories and headlines we continue to follow, taking you back out to our live radar XRAD system. I'm mentioning that rain, sleet, and
So, like I said in the title, we're going to be discussing a little bit of the winter storms. Let me go ahead and play the winter storm forecast, and then we're going to move on into some other shit that's going on in the media.
even snow and ice. It is
A lot of it's going to be Kash Patel at the end and shit like that.
prevalent this Thursday morning. We also know it's impacting some southern states with flooding. Fox 2 Detroit, they do have team coverage this morning following the very latest of these headlines. Let's check in with them now.
Let's do a temp check for everybody, man. What temperature is it where you live right now? You know what I mean? Just give me a state and don't dox yourself, you know what I mean? But give me a state and the temperature you guys are having right now. Like for me, here in Coleman, Alabama, it is 43 degrees right now. It's going to be a high of 51, but no rain today or tomorrow. But we got some rain Saturday. Shit. Let's see what the next part is. Come on, woman. Why can we barely hear it?
And good morning to you. It is 6 o'clock on this Thursday, February 13th. I'm Jay Towers.
And I'm Amy Andrews. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Looks like we wore a red on the wrong day. We should have saved it for tomorrow.
There was no agenda with this red. It was hanging on the tie thing, and I said that one. That was it.
Well, it looks good. We were super prepared for today. Had everything.
No, it's not, by the way, Johnny.
thing laid out because I had to gear up for that drive-in Allen Longstreet.
Yeah, for sure. We have that snow came to a close.
Oh, hell no. We got 62 of you guys up in here and we got 26 likes. Yo, I don't ask you guys to send in money. I don't ask you guys to send in shit. I don't ask you guys to even share the fucking place. You know what I mean? Just hit that like button, yo. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube and it's free. Come on, man. And if you guys are new here, by the way, hitting that subscribe button is also free. Just in case you didn't know. Just got to say it, you know. Shit. Appreciate you guys.
Early this morning, and it's still out of there, but decent amount fell, and it's going to take a little bit of time to plow through that, shovel out. The good news is we catch a break for a good chunk of the day. You'll see the winter weather advisory still back to the west, Jackson, Lansing, back toward Grand Rapids.
Yep, allegedly we're going to get into that with David Menser, the spokesperson for Israel, for the Israeli government. He's going to speak out, and we're going to talk about that specifically, allegedly, because he did say that.
Muskegon as well. Locally, those have expired. So there's the system moving away. You will notice a little bit of snow on the west side of the state, and we will see some of those showers slip into southeast Michigan. I'd say the best bet this afternoon. It will not be a repeat of yesterday, though, right? This is going to be spotty, hit and miss showers.
Brother GEG, always good to see you over there. You know what I mean? Like over there from the West Coast.
Now, the intensity of these may be decent, but it's going to be, again, very much scattered. Totals, a couple tenths of an inch, maybe half an inch. But if you get that quick, that could definitely lead to some issues. So keep that in mind this afternoon into the evening. Fluctuating visibility.
Fuck, you said 2 degrees, 6 degrees for Organized Insanity, 2 degrees in Nebraska for KP. In New Jersey, 40 degrees. That's a little better. That's about my temperature right now. Steve Easy over there, he's got 60 and raining, though. He's got rain. I had rain yesterday, and it was like 64 degrees. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was pretty warm. -2 over there in Kansas. Fuck, dude. Kansas is cold today, huh? 28 in Salem, Ohio. Damn. 34 up there in Ohio as well for Hardwire. 21 for Evil Rick in St. Louis. Shit, man. You guys are fucking cold. 25 in Detroit, Michigan. 14 degrees over there for Trigger Warning. Damn, dude. Yeah, 50 in North Carolina. The South is fairly nice right now. Yeah, 22 at the moment for Johnny Reno over there in Colorado. 47 and sunny. Ice melting off everything and trees down everywhere. Yeah, that's terrible. The trees down and shit, that's not. And the power lines, like you were saying, yeah, fuck that. Tiffany saying 37 degrees over there in Tennessee. Shit. And Mr. Boulay coming in with the 5 gifted memberships, by the way. Holy fuck. My man. Hey, listen, man. Not only are you helping me in that regard, but you're helping somebody or 5 people in the Breakfast Club, man. So I very much appreciate that. And, man, thank you for that. Sincerely.
21 Lapeer, 25 Detroit, 21 Ann Arbor, and 23 degrees to start things out in Windsor. Wind will push your chill down to 9 in Pontiac, 17 Detroit, 14 in Mount Clemens, and the wind picks up. These values do not move much today, so we keep that winter cold and then some firmly in place. So a few showers this afternoon, bitter cold next week, and more snow this weekend. And yeah, I think we get.
Yo, what's up, Wildcard? Good to see you, man.
Enough to get those shovels out again. We'll show you that coming up. For now, we go to the roads with Kelly.
9 in Illinois.
All right, thank you, Alan. If you're taking a look at your screen.
Man, I could give 2 fucks about no Detroit fucking traffic from this morning. Could give 2 fucks. All right, we're skipping ahead. All right, so remember how I told you guys about this car thing that happened in Germany? You guys may or may not heard this at the top of the show. So the Associated Press was initially reporting that there was at least 20 people injured after a driver hits group of people in Germany. And that number since has been updated from 20 to 28 officially. So let's go ahead and see the initial report, and then we'll get the updated report in a bit.
6:19 here on the East Coast. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. Breaking news just entering our newsroom this Thursday. The Associated Press reporting at least 20 people are injured after a driver hit a group of people in Munich, Germany. You're getting a live look there during the 6 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. You can see emergency personnel are there searching this vehicle. They've removed items from the trunk there. At this time, we know a driver drove this vehicle into a group of people in Munich this Thursday, injuring at least 20. This coming from authorities there on the ground. Authorities not providing details, though, about the incident near downtown Munich, which took place around 10:30 local time.
Hey, Brother RP knows the deal. Hey, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Very, very kind of you, sir.
Does include whether the people were hit deliberately. Police saying on social platform X that the driver was, quote, secured at the scene and no longer poses any danger. A damaged Mini could be seen at the scene, and that's what you're getting a live look at this hour. That's that Mini Cooper there that is being investigated as a part of this tragic situation that's unfolded. The fire service.
Fucking Beezer down there in South Florida, by the way. He's just got to rub it in, saying, haha, 82 degrees here, freeze, bitches. Shit. Come on, man. Don't do people like that.
20 people were injured, some of them seriously. The mayor of the area saying he was, quote, deeply shocked by this incident. He says that children are among those injured. A demonstration in the area by local workers was actually underway at this time, taking place during the time of this incident. It's not immediately clear, though, whether demonstrators were among those injured. The Bavarian capital will see heavy security in the coming days because the 3-day.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, SNS, is JD Vance actually just flew into there this morning. So it's ironic that there was this that happened and JD Vance is flying in this morning. I was like, wow, what the fuck?
Munich Security Conference, an annual gathering of international foreign and security policy officials that is expected to open on this Friday.
There it is.
Interesting to.
There it is. Mr. Boulay saying breaking news. RFK Jr. has enough votes for confirmation. Yes, sir. Make America healthy again. Absolutely. Thank you for that update, kind sir.
Add that as we know that global leaders will be in this area for this security conference. This happening a day before they are set to arrive. The photographer and videographer there at the scene scaling back with the shot so we can get a wide scale view. You see crimes.
Really? I'm reading about this right now. It's a 24-year-old Afghan asylum seeker. He has had multiple encounters with the police since 2016. Is anybody fucking surprised? Shit.
Scene tape there to keep
terrible. Brother Todd J, my man, good morning.
From the scene as they continue to investigate, you can see debris scattered there across the roadways. Rainy conditions there this hour, so weather could potentially play a part in investigations. But you can see there the trunk open on that.
Hey, South Carolina's beautiful too, man. South Carolina's beautiful too. Anywhere in the South is pretty dope, actually. I gotta admit, you know, I might be a little biased, but just saying.
They are saying that could be the vehicle that plowed into these group of people. At least 20 people injured at this time. And then again, they are combing through that vehicle, working to find evidence. They say at this time they don't know if this was a deliberate attack. And then debris scattered across the roadways. You can imagine people there, demonstrators who were there for a service workers union. Don't know if they were in the middle of the street, but you can imagine if they were standing there, you see a car coming.
Yo, brother Hook Dog over there in California, California as well. Good to see you.
At a high rate of speed. You just drop everything and run, which might be why you see all of the litter there in the road. Again, this is preliminary information we are following. Make sure to stay tuned to Live Now from Fox for the very latest. At this hour, the European Commission, they have come to.
I don't care about no European Commission. I can promise you that. I could give two fucks about what's going on with that. Yeah, we're not gonna listen to any of that. Let's go ahead and bring it on up. So heavy snow and freezing rain slamming the plains and Midwest real quick. Look at this fucking shot right there alone, dude. Like, that looks like a nightmare. Mister, how does it feel to be in situations like this? Like, fuck that, dude. That is brutal right there. All right, let's go ahead and back this up and see what they're reporting.
Runoff and debris flows.
I don't have any words for it with the winds and the fire and now the rain. I don't know. It's so devastating.
Flash flooding also a concern in parts of the South, where a wintry mix of snow and ice that fell Tuesday began melting due to rising temperatures. That storm dumped several inches of snow from Kentucky to Maryland. It also caused hundreds of traffic accidents, shut down schools, and knocked out power to tens of thousands in Virginia.
Hey, Pain Zombie, I very much appreciate that, man. This is something I take pride in, so I very much appreciate that.
And North Carolina.
We're doing all right. The slush is pretty brutal.
Meanwhile, heavy snow continues slamming the Midwest. Icy conditions impacting millions from the plains to the Great Lakes, creating hazardous road conditions. The back-to-back storms.
Yes, I have seen it. I'm just asking someone that may anecdotally have done that, and I have not.
With winter fatigue.
I know a lot of the kids are going to be enjoying it. I know mine will. So
this is not really inviting weather for walking or really doing anything outside.
Here in Wisconsin, more snow is expected later this week with wind chills that could fall below zero. In Madison, Wisconsin, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
All right, Caroline, thank you so much. Giving you another live look at our XRAD radar system, and you can see areas such as Detroit heavily impacted by winter weather. Let's check in with our content partners at Fox 2 Detroit right now.
And good morning to you. It is 7 o'clock on this Thursday morning, this aftermath of snow. Thursday morning, February 13th. I'm Jay Towers.
And I'm Amy Andrews. The snow has stopped falling, but there's still a lot of work to do to clear the roads. The good news is the crews are out and making progress.
If you still have to head out to work.
Okay, so we know enough about that it's going to be cold and snowy and shit like that. Well, I mean, snow kind of took a backseat, which is good. All right, we're going to move ahead into a bit of the, with the Gaza situation and the hostages in regards to Hamas. Let's go ahead and figure out what's going on here.
For taking the time to be here with us today.
Thanks for having me back, and hello from Kuwait.
Of course, and we do appreciate you taking the time to join us. I did want to ask, have you been in touch with any of the families of other hostages? I mean, we have talked about this in the past, but you work closely with them. Have you been in touch with them, and what have they had to say? Is this providing any sort of renewed hope, maybe?
You know, I've been in touch with a lot of families, both my own clients, including the mother, Travis Leak, who's an Air Force veteran that remains detained in Russia, and others from across the world. And I think every time there is an American return, there's this bittersweet experience, right?
Hey, Hook Dog, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Separating yourself from the internet sometimes, trust me. You don't got to worry about that.
Where everyone is overjoyed. I mean, we have all been really worried about Mark Fogel for, 3 years now? So couldn't be any happier that he came home. He needed to come home. His sentence was absurd. But there's still this moment for a lot of the other families that are still waiting for their miracles, where it's very
You
real.
too, brother Johnny. Be safe out there, my man.
And very weighty on them, that they are in fact waiting on their day too. So we hope.
Junkyard saying we live, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to see my man over here.
You know, with each time somebody's released, that paves the way for more releases, and that, you know, certainly the President Trump seems to be on quite a path in terms of bringing people home over these past couple of weeks. The energy has been remarkable.
We also heard about the American who was freed from Belarus, and this is, of course, over the course of about 48 hours or so.
God damn, for real, Junkyard? We got zero snow. I mean, it's not anywhere close enough cold where I live. It's been like 60s the entire time up until, well, not the entire time. The last week, I would say, it's been like 60s. And today, now it's like 41 right now for me. And the rain, we had quite a bit of rain for the last 3 days, but that just stopped today. That's
I did
crazy,
want to
though.
ask because many people don't necessarily realize just how many people, and you touched on this, are wrongfully detained Americans that are being held overseas. Is there any indication to even begin to imagine how many we're talking about?
Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 40. And those are those that meet the wrongful detention standard in the Levinson Act. I think that there are likely hundreds, if not close to 1,000 Americans around the world in other countries, some friendly, in fact, many in friendly countries, whose cases don't hold water. So I think one thing that I've been impressed.
Yo, Steve Easy saying, I'm going to give her the best one-legged mediocre wienering she ever had. Shit. Come on, cuh. Come on, cuh.
Is the Trump administration's willingness to hear about cases that exist in what I call the gray area, where they haven't yet been designated as wrongfully detained, but where the cases against them are clearly nonsense. And that would be true of Travis Leak as well as the other two wrongfully detained cases in Russia, the ballerina and Andrei Kachatourian.
And I have to imagine there is a lot of work that goes on.
Now let's go ahead and move. Let's go ahead and move it up. All right, so now they updated it to 28 people were injured in the Germany car ramming attack. So now that it's been updated, let's go ahead and hear that small update from them because we actually got some video footage as well.
Image that we do have for you coming in right now as we are seeing J.D. Vance, vice president here in the U.S.
See, I told you guys J.D. Vance was going to be there this morning. I told you.
Arriving. This is actually an image that is coming in live, and we're keeping an eye on it overall, but we've been also keeping an eye just on his trip as we know that he is heading over the region of Munich. That is where we do, of course, know that there was a major attack that took place this morning. And kind of while I sit on this image here, I want to go over the latest on what we know about that attack this morning here, as we are learning that the number of injuries could be as many as 28 after that.
Hey, brother War Gorilla, my man. Good to see you, my man.
Plowed into a union demonstration in central Munich, Germany. This was this morning. Authorities now saying this appears to be an attack, and the suspect, an Afghan asylum seeker, is now in custody. People
as well as Dirty. Shit. Good morning, man.
Taking part in a demonstration by the Service Workers Union were walking along a street near downtown Munich this morning when the car overtook a police vehicle that was following the gathering, accelerated, then plowed into the back of the group. And we do have a live look right here over at the scene as it is still very active. Officers arresting the suspect.
Yo, brother Straight Jacket. Shit. Hopefully you're doing fantastic this morning, and good to see you, man.
After firing a shot at the car. That's according to Deputy Police Chief Christian Huber, who added that 28 people were believed to be injured, some of them with serious injuries. There was what appeared to be a...
So far, I haven't heard there being any deaths yet, which is fantastic. I don't want to hear that. Tiffany, by the way, hey, absolutely. Go handle your ordeal, man. Be safe out there. Always appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow.
At the scene. You can see it there in the distance. It's on the left-hand side of your screen. But there is also a large amount of debris, which includes shoes out there. You can see all of it kind of scattered around that location. Huber revealed the suspect is a 24-year-old Afghan asylum seeker.
So there it is. You heard it. You heard it. I think Papa Penguin said that he was an Afghan asylum seeker, and makes sense. I mean, just whatever. All right. So that's interesting. Let's go and back that up a little bit.
Revealed the suspect is a 24-year-old Afghan asylum seeker, but a name as of right now
Brother
has
Anson
not been released. The Bavarian capital will see heavy security, as I mentioned, in the coming days because the 3-day Munich Security Conference, an annual gathering of international foreign and security policy officials, opens Friday. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance arriving there for that security conference, along with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, again, taking you out to this live image that we do have as Vice President Vance arrives there. Not sure if he will be getting off of the plane here in the coming minutes. And it's also not clear if Secretary of State Marco
Yo, so loud. She good to see you too, man, over there in the South as well.
Rubio is flying with him. I would imagine he is, but they are heading there to Munich for that security conference. As of right now, it does not appear that there is any connection to that conference. That is according to officials. We heard from Bavaria's state interior.
Yo, Steve, that's a good question. We got 70. We got on my side now, it says 80. We got 80 people watching. How many likes do we got right now? I'm just asking a question.
Minister
That's to you, chat. Let me know how many.
Authorities do not believe the car ramming is connected to the conference, but they still need to determine a motive. We are going to head to a quick break now at 8:12
No, we're not.
on the.
No, we're not. We're not doing no fucking break. Look at that. Holy shit. That windshield is just so fucking caved in. That is nuts.
Police Chief Christian Huber has given some information. He did add that as many as 28 people could be injured, and some of them are believed to have serious injuries.
Only 38 likes with 80 of y'all motherfuckers? Come on, man. We got to do a quick little halt to the show, man. That's unreal. I don't ask you guys to do none of that bullshit like all the other, I don't ask you guys to do nothing other than just hit that like button. Yo, come on, man. It's the number one metric of all of YouTube. Helps out the show immensely, man. Hit that like button.
There was what appeared to be this damaged Mini at the scene, along with a large amount of debris. Now, what we're looking at is kind of a zoomed-in shot, so it is not clear just yet if they will zoom out again. But
yo, Joseph up there in Canada, always good to see you, my man.
I can tell you from looking at that image throughout
Stop
the
the
morning,
cat.
it does appear that there is debris scattered all over the street as that demonstration was underway. We also know that Huber says the suspect is a 24-year-old Afghan asylum seeker.
Hey, Kitty over there from the UK. Always appreciate you hanging out with us, as well as Jay Goldbar, the sponsor of the show for all of my left-handed tobacco needs. That is the man right there. Very much appreciate you hanging out with us. Somebody drop SNS. Do me a favor. Drop his link in the chat, man. Let him know where to find him.
In Capitol is going to see that heavy security in the coming days because, as I mentioned, that 3-day Munich Security Conference, which is an annual gathering of international foreign and security policy officials, opens tomorrow. I do want to take you back out right now to this live image here.
Yo, Papa Penguin coming in with the $5 spot, by the way, saying, if you don't smash that like, you're going to make 8 pounds and 6 ounce baby Jesus cry. Stop contemplating your belly button and hit that like button. Two enthusiastic thumbs up go to that one right there, Papa Penguin. I very much appreciate that, kind sir. Thank you for helping out the show.
As we know that J.D. Vance, vice president here in the U.S., has arrived there in Munich for that conference. He's going to be with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Now, Bavaria's state interior minister said that authorities do not believe at this point that the car ramming was connected to the conference, but they still need to determine a motive. Again, we are zoomed in about as far as we can be. It's not quite clear if that.
Yeah, there was a guy that rammed basically a group of people. And at first they reported 20 people were injured from this in Germany. And now they're reporting 28. And so far, no deaths, which is fantastic. And it's crazy timing because that happened this morning and J.D. Vance just landed right now for a conference in Germany. In the same place.
Vice President J.D. Vance. I can tell you my monitor is fairly small here, and the camera is zoomed in as far as it goes. If J.D. Vance makes any comments, you can imagine that you will see.
Yeah, Teresa, man, I appreciate you. Hopefully you're having a wonderful morning as well.
Right here on Live Now from Fox. Again, a live look over at the scene there in Munich as the investigation does continue into the car ramming attack. Later on this morning, Alex Hogan with Fox News will join us with the latest information that she has learned. And Trey Yingst with Fox News actually filing a report from the scene a short time ago. And I do want to play that for you.
You can see there is a heavy police presence here in Munich at the site where this car.
Yo, Brother Dean, good morning to you.
Plowed into a group of pedestrians. At least 15 people were injured, according to police. When I arrived here, I saw one man limping away. He was with paramedics who had arrived on the scene treating some of the injured.
Man, that sucks. Provo coming in with the $1.99 super sticker or super chat. Didn't send a message though, kind sir. Hey, Provo, my man, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And man, I'm sorry I missed your show this morning. I went to bed late, like 2:30, 2:45 in the morning. And I wake up at 8:30 every day. So to do my show, get ready, you know, shower, the whole nine. But
I'll show you a little bit more of just the number of police that arrived here. The Munich Security Conference is set to begin this weekend. There will be world leaders here in this city in Germany, including Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and other leaders from around the world, like Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
A big thank you there to Trey Yingst with Fox News. We'll be checking in with Alex Hogan, who is also covering the story a bit later on this morning. Again, taking a live look, you can see an umbrella that is kind of blocking the shot right there, but that is Air Force Two in the distance as J.D. Vance has arrived for that 3-day security conference, which I believe Trey will be at to cover for Fox News and, of course, providing reports to us here on Live Now from Fox. We do have to head to...
Hey, shout out to North Carolina, by the way. And he's about to say, this reporter right here, Joshua, he's about to say we're about to go to a 2-minute break. Hell no, we're not. We're skipping right through, going to the next motherfucking story.
A quick break here at 8:19 on the
Nope. Maybe there's a break for you. Let's see.
Even if those votes are very, very close.
Later today, we have Linda McMahon's confirmation hearing. Are we nearing the end of these hearings, or are there still a lot more to go?
You know, the high-profile ones, we are definitely getting towards the end. But, you know, look, there's an ambassador for almost every country in the world. So we're going to continue with some of these confirmation hearings. But the ones that we're really paying attention to, the cabinet, the true high-profile folks, yeah, I think we are probably fortunately getting towards the end.
We know that Tulsi Gabbard was confirmed by a fairly close vote, 52-48. We know that Pete Hegseth was a tie, and Vice President J.D.
What was the actual cause? Just him being radical? What was the ordeal there, Emerald? But by the way, good morning to you. Hopefully you're doing fantastic. Always appreciate you hanging out with us.
Vance had to break that tie. Are the confirmation votes normally this close? Is it typically more cut and dry? Is this case different?
Yeah, they are different this time. So, you know, in a normal cycle, so in Trump 1, what you saw with Biden, you tend to see the vast majority of folks get, you know, pretty easy confirmations, maybe with 1 or 2 folks who are really controversial, you know, at the most. What we're seeing this time is different in that it seems like almost everybody is getting in on a razor thin margin. So that's the real difference here, is just how many folks are not, you know, unanimous. Usually you get at 1, 2, 3, 4 folks who are unanimous or darn close. That's not what we're seeing this time.
Any surprise that Mitch McConnell was the only Republican to vote against confirming Tulsi Gabbard? There was a lot of talk about it on social media. We know, of course,
okay, so right after this, we're getting into David Mencer. That's going to be a little bit on the Israeli government. And then after that, I believe that's when we'll be going into, we're going to be going into the Senate vote on Patel. And unfortunately, the Senate, they just really don't like Kash Patel, kind of like in any regards here. So anyways, let's go ahead and tune in to David Mencer and see what he's got to say.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox. The time 8:41 on the East Coast and 5:41 on the West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow, and I'm here to bring you all of your top stories and live events from across the country and across the world.
Yes, sir.
It does look like the Israeli government briefing with David Mencer is now getting underway, and all of this happening hours after Hamas has backtracked and said that they will release 3 hostages on Saturday as planned. Let's pop up the audio here and listen in.
Good.
Questions in the chat together with your name and news outlet. Firstly, on the hostage release agreement,
Steve, I couldn't agree with you anymore.
Notwithstanding news reports which we've seen that Hamas will release 3 of our hostages on Saturday. Let me make Israel's position clear on the agreement. The release of all of our hostages is a key war aim, as is destroying Hamas's governing and military capability and ensuring that Gaza does not become a threat to Israel again. The government has expressed outrage over the shocking state of the 3 hostages who were released last Saturday. The Prime Minister has welcomed President Trump's demand to release our hostages by Saturday noon as well. And we also welcome the President's revolutionary vision for the future of Gaza. So in light of Hamas's announcement regarding its decision to violate the agreement and not release our hostages, the government has instructed our armed forces to amass forces inside and surrounding Gaza if Hamas does not return our hostages by Saturday noon. Not talking about announcements and press announcements. We're talking about these Israeli hostages arriving back in Israel. If that does not happen by Saturday noon, the ceasefire will end and the IDF will resume intense fighting until the final defeat of Hamas. The ceasefire in Gaza is conditional on the implementation of the framework. If the Hamas...
You know what? Should I grab my left-handed tobacco J over here that's covered in left-handed tobacco crystals?
Terror organization does not
Maybe I
return
should.
hostages by noon on Saturday.
Maybe I should.
The IDF will resume intense fighting to achieve all of our war aims. The release of all of our hostages, destroying Hamas's governing and military capability, and ensuring that Gaza does not become a threat to Israel.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm grabbing it.
Again.
1 second.
Next, let's go up north and the ceasefire with Lebanon. Israel insists that the agreement is fully enforced. The purpose of the agreement in Lebanon is to thwart any threat or risk to Israel's sovereignty and the safety of our citizens. We insist that the goal of the war, the return of our residents to their homes safely, will be made possible and fully implemented. Again, to be clear, that means no Hezbollah forces between our border and the Litani River. Next, on Israel's expanded operation against terrorism in northern Samaria, our armed forces are taking forward proactively their extensive anti-terrorism operation. Israel is clear there will be no safe havens for terrorists in Judea and Samaria. In northern Samaria, our forces have located weapons and dismantled terrorist infrastructure. Just last night, for instance, in Nur Shams, our forces encountered terrorists who opened fire at them. One of the terrorists was eliminated, and an M16 rifle and ammunition and military equipment was also found. Just in this week alone, our counter-terrorism forces have operated throughout Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. We've apprehended more than 90 terrorists. We've dismantled dozens of explosives. We've questioned hundreds of suspected of terrorist activity and confiscated 12 weapons and approximately 50 illegal vehicles. You can see some of the details of the illegal weapons being confiscated on the IDF Telegram feed. Just today, actually, in an operation in northern Samaria, our soldiers located a rigged vehicle and dismantled it. Again, this is straight out of the Iranian terrorist playbook used to deadly effect against allied forces in Iraq and Afghanistan. To be clear again, there will be no safe havens for terrorists in Judea and Samaria. And lastly, before we take your questions, which you should put in the chat together with your news outlet and your name, I just wanted to draw your attention to the report featured in the Israel Journal of Health.
Yes, I can. I can, Hook Dog. But do I have to? Nah, I don't have to. I can. But by hand, I hate rolling them by hand. I have a roller. I have one of those as well. But I can do it by hand. It just sucks.
Policy Research, which features its peer-reviewed study analyzing food supply data into Gaza during this conflict. Now, it very clearly counters the libel of famine. The report makes clear that there was substantial food supply during this war. Isolating just January to April last year in 2024, Israel got 228,000 tons of food into Gaza on 15,000 trucks. Now that means an average of almost 4,000 trucks per month. The food delivered provided 3.5 thousand calories. That's 3,500 calories per person per day, which actually exceeds the international standards for nutritional adequacy. But despite the logistical and the security challenges, Israel ensured the continuous flow of food and aid into Gaza for the needs of the population. Okay, that's the end of our briefing today. I will now take your questions. Please put them in the chat together with your news outlet, and we'll take them all.
Okay, here goes the monologue is always kind of whatever. The questions are usually, the media outlet's going to ask some decent questions. And this is always where it gets interesting.
First question here, excuse me, is from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Does Hamas's announcement that it will release 3 hostages on Saturday, as previously agreed, satisfy Israel's concerns, or will Israel follow through on the threat to resume the war if all hostages are not released? Thank you for that question, Joel. I believe that a couple of points. Firstly, Israel will believe that these hostages are free when they return to Israeli territory. We're dealing with a genocidal, murderous, terrorist organization. Second point I would make is that at the start of this briefing, I made crystal clear Israel's position, our war aims, and our objective of getting our people home. That is the objective. Okay, next question here is from Fredega. Earlier this week, US President Trump demanded the release of hostages. Okay, I think that's pretty much the same question. That's the same question that was asked previously. Okay.
Shit. VT saying 73 viewers. Damn, I think that's the most I've seen here. Hit that like. Hey, man, I appreciate you, VT. Yeah, once in a while I do all right. You know what I mean? On the number side. My latest biggest was 180. That was my latest biggest that I've hit.
Okay. The next question,
and that was with absolutely 0 raids, by the way. That was 100% organic.
You've put 3 questions there. You haven't put your name or news outlet, so please do that, and we'll get back to it. Just go to the top there. Let me see here.
Hey,
question from,
be safe out there, KP. Always appreciate you, by the way.
Breitbart News. To be clear, you said hostages, not all hostages. Will Israel be satisfied with the release of all of our hostages? Thank you for that question, Joel. At the start of this briefing, we made very clear what Israel's position is. The war objectives.
Steve, that would look like a badass bobblehead, and it's got the whole kind of the body and everything. It would have the chain, it would have the hat, you know what I mean? Yeah, it would be dope. It would be dope. We should make that happen.
To bring all of our hostages home.
I support that.
That is what the people of Israel want, and that is what the government is working night and day to achieve. Now, we've made very, very clear that Israel's position on this agreement, it is, of course, the release of all of our hostages. That's a key war aim, as well as the other aims of this war. Now, we've expressed outrage about the shocking state of the 3 hostages that were...
Yo, this is for Steve in the chat.
Stop the cap.
Just needed to do that, just really quick.
Stupid.
Just needed to say it.
Release on Saturday, and the government has most definitely welcomed President Trump's demand to release all of our hostages by Saturday noon, as well as President Trump's revolutionary vision for the future of Gaza.
Gunpowder Nitro, my man.
We're saying very, very clearly that we have a framework in place. There is a framework in place for the release.
All right, brother Hook Dog. We'll see you on the flip side, my man.
Of our hostages. There are important markers. There are important steps on this framework. that framework makes clear that 3 live hostages must be released by Hamas terrorists on Saturday. Now, if Hamas do not adhere to the agreement, indeed, if they violate this agreement and do not release our hostages, the government has made clear that it has instructed our armed forces, and we have already amassed forces inside and surrounding Gaza. So, if those 3
I guess that sounds like a you problem, Milton.
are not released, if Hamas does not return our hostages by Saturday noon, the ceasefire will end and the IDF will resume intense fighting until the final defeat of Hamas. The ceasefire in Gaza is conditional on the implementation of the framework. Hamas is a terrorist organization. If they don't return our hostages, the 3 of them, particularly by noon on Saturday, the IDF will resume intense fighting to achieve all of our war aims. The return of all of our hostages, the destroying of Hamas's governing and military capability, and ensuring that Gaza can no longer be a threat to Israel. Okay. Next question here is, can you be clearer on the number of hostages that need to come out Saturday by noon on the ceasefire falls apart? Is it 3, 9, or all of them? Thanks, Kim. That's from USA Today. Kim from USA Today. If you could just give us your last name, Kim. But Kim from USA Today, in this briefing, I've made clear that there is a framework agreement and there are important markers on that framework agreement for the ceasefire agreement to continue. One of those markers is that 3 of our hostages should be returned live on Saturday. I've made crystal clear what the repercussions will be if that does not come to pass. Israel's position is that we want all of our hostages home, the living and those who have already been murdered by Hamas.
Exactly.
We are working now to this framework. The purpose
Exactly what David just said. All of them.
Which is to bring
even if
our
they're dead
people home. Okay. Next question is from Nadine Ibrahim from CNN International. Israel demanding. Okay, I think I've dealt with that question.
Fucking Anson, dude.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Emotional damage.
That was for you, Ka.
Already. And a question from Samuel Faure from Le Monde. You're asking the same question, which I've already dealt with. And another question from Claire Porter from the Washington Post. What is the goal of the now 3-week-long IDF operation in Jenin? How long do Israel forces intend to remain in Jenin? Why did the IDF launch this operation when the Palestinian Authority forces were already operating in the camp? Thank you for that question, Nadeem. Let me share with you, as I did in this briefing, the objectives of our anti-terror operations in Judea and Samaria. Yes, you're right. We have expanded the operation against terrorism in northern Samaria. Our armed forces are taking forward proactively their extensive anti-terrorism operation. We are extremely clear about the objectives. There will be no safe haven for terrorists in Judea and Samaria. You mentioned Palestinian Authority. They have been spectacularly unsuccessful in countering terrorism in Jenin in particular. So that means in northern Samaria, our forces have proactively been locating weapons, dismantling terrorist infrastructure. And I spoke about in this briefing just last night, we were fired upon, our forces were fired upon in Nur Shams. The terrorists that fired upon us, one of them was eliminated and weaponry was found. And I also talked about in this operation, just this week alone, our forces have been operating across Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. We've apprehended more than 90 terrorists, dismantled dozens of explosives, questioned hundreds of suspected terrorists suspects for terrorist activity. And we've confiscated many weapons and approximately 50.
Get it over with, David Menser. Holy shit.
Illegal vehicles. And I also mentioned In northern Samaria, a rigged vehicle with explosives, which was disarmed by the IDF. Again, this is out of the Iranian playbook. Now, we know that Iran, having failed in Gaza, is trying to ignite Judea and Samaria. We will not allow that to happen. Israel was taken by surprise on October 7th, 2023. We will not be taken by surprise again. Israel has a duty to defend its citizens, and that is precisely what we will do. And the Iranian efforts to smuggle in weapons, to foment another terrorist outrage against this country will not succeed, because we are aware that there will be no safe haven for terrorists anywhere in Judea and Samaria.
All right, time now 8:55 on the East
Good
Coast.
job,
and
Beezer.
5:55 on the West Coast. You are listening in live over as we are hearing from David Mencer, the Israeli government spokesperson. All of this just hours after Hamas does claim that it will follow the rules of the ceasefire and release 3 hostages as planned on Saturday. They're backtracking, of course, after those threats from President Donald Trump and from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
No, well, of
that
course
the
we're going to
war
give them
would
back.
resume, that fighting would resume if those hostages were not released by noon on Saturday. Do have to sneak in our final 2-minute commercial
No, we
break,
don't.
but on the other
No,
side,
we
a
don't.
lot more live news to get to right here.
Nope. Okay, so I did want to show this. There was a protest going in. It got interrupted on USAID. I have to show this to you guys. This was fan-fucking-tastic. Always, when you gotta love that you can tell when in politics, guys. If you guys didn't know this, there are always have been paid protesters. Okay, there has always been paid protesters in politics since day one. Okay, this is not a new phenomenon. So, anyways, there were some paid protesters at this ordeal, and you're about to see it. Here we go.
Importance of the issues before us, and is grateful to have you here to speak with us today. Your full statements will be made a part of the record, and I'll ask each of you to keep your comments, spoken remarks to less than 5 minutes in order to allow time for member questions. Hopefully you give us something that more than what we could just read in your opening statements. And I would also ask unanimous consent that the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. McCormick, be allowed to sit on the dais and participate in today's hearing. Without objection, so ordered. I now recognize Mr. Primorak for your opening statement.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to testify before this committee. My name is Max Primorak. I am a senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation. I previously served at the U.S. Agency for International.
PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! 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 PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now!
I guess these guys don't watch the news. They didn't realize that PEPFAR was one of the many programs that did prove to be life-saving. So the funding was restored. Somebody better give them a link to, I don't know, maybe Fox
Oh, shit.
News or something like that. You may
You hear what he said? We should give him a link, to Fox News saying that they actually report on the truth.
restored. Somebody better give them a link to, I don't know, maybe Fox News or something like that. You may resume your opening statement.
Yo, listen, it was just paid protesters. Don't worry about it. This is normal in politics. For people that watch this shit like I do, this is not like abnormal. This is normal.
Mr. Chairman, I previously served at USA.
Yeah.
All right, there you have it. The protesters removed from that hearing as it did get back underway. Now, I do want to remind you, we do have it live on our YouTube page. If you do want to watch it in full and uninterrupted, you can head over to YouTube, search Live Now from Fox, and click on it there. While you're there, hit that subscribe button, and that way you'll be alerted when there are hearings and other
Hey,
press
good way to
conferences
close that for
just
me.
like that.
Hey, good job, Josh. Josh Breslow over there at Live Now from Fox. He always does a great job. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I always appreciate every single one of you guys, you know. Oh, there was one thing that I didn't cover that I always say that I'm, you know, the truth is we already kind of know what's going on with RFK, but we didn't get into Kash Patel, which I did promise in the title that I would do. So let me pop this. I got it backed up. Perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and get this ordeal because this will get you guys heated. This will get you guys fucking heated. I forgot this was even going on today. All right. You guys are about to get fucking worked up in the chat, dude.
Today, do we have enough people here to hold it over? Okay, yeah. We have two items on our agenda. Kash Patel's nomination to serve as Director of FBI and S331, the Fentanyl Act. Because the Halt Fentanyl Act is listed on the agenda for the first time, it'll be held over until our next meeting. Last week, committee Democrats exercised their right under the committee rules to hold Patel's nomination for 7 days. Obviously, we had to honor that hold from last week. So today is the day that we vote on this nominee. Now, we all know that Mr. Patel, like other nominees, undergo rigorous vetting. He's no exception. Before his hearing, he produced more than 1,000 pages of records, disclosed over 1,000 interviews. He underwent an FBI background investigation, produced a financial disclosure.
Yo, good morning, Pablo.
And worked with ethics officials to identify and resolve potential conflicts of interest. At his hearing, he answered questions for more than 5 hours and provided 147 pages of responses to written questions. So we've examined every detail of his life, and he's been subjected to relentless attacks on his character during this whole period of time. Now, what we've learned from this committee process is what we knew from his resume. Mr. Patel has spent his whole career fighting for righteous causes. He's been a public defender.
It's about to get fucking rough. I can promise you that here in like 2 minutes.
Representing the accused.
What's up, Wes?
The power of the state.
Gee, good morning to you. Hopefully you're doing well, as well as Brother Steve. Hey, be safe out there, man. Always appreciate you, and hopefully you feel better, you know, with your ordeal, you know. We'll see on the flip side. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
He's been a congressional staffer investigating the partisan weaponization of our legal system. And he served in key national security roles, protecting Americans from foreign enemies. He's received support from former FBI agents, former federal and state prosecutors, and organizations representing more than 680,000 law enforcement officers. But Mr. Patel's resume, his accomplishments, and his supports aren't why he's the best person for this job. Mr. Patel should be considered our next FBI director because the FBI has been infected by political bias and weaponized against the American people. Mr. Patel knows it. Mr. Patel exposed it, and Mr. Patel has targeted for it and I've got plenty of examples to show what's wrong with the FBI. Mr. Patel was instrumental in exposing Crossfire Hurricane. He showed during that investigation that the Democratic National Committee funded false allegations against President Trump, that the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation hid information from the FISA court to wiretap a presidential campaign, and that an FBI lawyer lied in the process. As reward for his efforts to uncover this truth, he was attacked by the media, and the Department of Justice secretly subpoenaed his records. Now, I and my staff know a thing or two about this kind of retaliation because my staff received similar treatment during our investigation.
See, I already know when I go and run, they're gonna dig every part of my life up, and I'm willing to stand up for all of that. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Investigation. Sadly, as I've said at Mr. Patel's hearing, Crossfire Hurricane is but one example of recent FBI misconduct.
Much love, RP.
The FBI targeted traditional Catholic families and concerns of parents for political reasons. The FBI coordinated with social media platforms to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. The FBI conducted an unprecedented raid on President Trump's home in an act of partisan lawfare. In just the last few days, we've heard unconfirmed reports that someone at the FBI may have illegally leaked information about upcoming ICE raids, putting the lives of ICE agents at risk. If true, the betrayal can't be overstated. The FBI has fallen into really old habits and is long overdue for massive reform. Mr. Patel is the man to do it, and that's why he's being attacked so viciously right now. Before we even had a hearing, committee members called Mr. Patel by these adjectives: dishonest, untrustworthy, lacking in character, a wolf at the door, a conspiracy theorist, a staunch political loyalist, and lastly, a nightmare. Since his nomination was announced, committee Democrats have sent at least...
Hey, Wes, appreciate you, my man. Yeah, it's just, fuck around. Sometimes you do find out, in fact,
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
It does happen.
11 letters to 11 different agencies and parties demanding records and urging investigation into Mr. Patel. Each letter breathlessly accuses Mr. Patel of something new, often citing quote unquote highly credible anonymous sources that don't fit the facts. Some accused him of not following hostage rescue protocol. Others suggested he is secretly directing FBI personnel decisions. And some accused him of promoting conspiracy theories. The purpose of this campaign is quite obvious. Throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks. I'm not falling for it.
We get it.
And I don't believe the American people will likewise.
Okay. Good
These
job. We'll go ahead.
attacks
We'll go ahead.
are
We know where you
Fox,
sit.
we do have Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat, of course, from Illinois, and ranking member talking now about Kash Patel. Let's pop up the audio.
Kind of power that J. Edgar Hoover, the founder of the FBI, exercised when he had wiretaps on Martin Luther King Jr. and other civil rights leaders and branded them as communist. For the last half century, this law has served its purpose. At Mr. Patel's hearing, one of my Republican colleagues suggested that consideration of an FBI director is a, quote,
Mister, you have no idea.
Shirts and skins game, quote unquote. That is clearly incorrect if you look at the record. I've served on this committee for more than 20 years. During the consideration of 4 FBI director nominations, Bob Mueller twice.
Be good out there, so loud. Always appreciate you, man.
Comey and Wray before this one. Each of these directors was a Republican, and I voted for all of them. Some game of shirts and skins. What it boils down to is this agency should be above politics. What we have just heard from the chairman is an invitation for a political free-for-all if Kash Patel is chosen as the head of this FBI. I will not be surprised when my Republican colleagues again claim that the Democrats have weaponized the FBI, as we've already heard, despite the fact for the last 50 years, every single Senate-confirmed head of the FBI has been a Republican. Even former Chris Wray, former director, has been a frequent target of outrage.
Hey, appreciate that, Scott. Much love, homie. And be good up there and warm. Shit, fucking Canada. You guys, I got one of my friends, she lives in Alberta, and she was like, it was -40 the other day. I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, that's fucking crazy.
My Republican colleagues conveniently never mention that Director Wray is a lifelong Republican, nominated to the position by Republican President Donald Trump, and confirmed to the position, get this, with the unanimous support of Senate Republicans. Unanimous. As a reminder, President Biden kept Director Wray, a Republican appointed by President Trump, in that position. But because he did not do his bidding, President Trump forced Wray out and nominated Mr. Patel, an inexperienced loyalist to the Trump administration.
Here we go.
It
Here we
turns out
go.
that Mr. Patel is already seeking retribution on behalf of President Trump, despite his status as a private citizen. As I revealed earlier this week, multiple whistleblowers have disclosed to my staff highly credible
Hey, Milton, I appreciate that sincerely.
information
Thank you for that.
indicating that Mr. Patel, a civilian, is personally directing the ongoing purge of senior law enforcement officials at the FBI. The ramifications of these terminations are dangerous, and they go beyond Mr. Patel's fitness for office. This purge has greatly weakened the FBI's ability to protect the country from national security threats and made America less safe. This week, I invited the head of the organization that represents FBI agents to come to my office and talk to me about the morale at the FBI. 2 women came and visited with me.
Oh my goodness.
Both of them had served as FBI agents for long periods of time, one for 22 years and another for 17 years, and they both were proud to tell me their fathers were FBI agents before them. They said to me they have never seen this kind of thing happen in the transition of one president to another when it comes to the FBI. There is only one person nominally and officially who is political at the FBI, the director. All the others are professional and career employees. One political person. But now there's been requests from this administration, for example, to produce the names of all of the agents and staff at the FBI who worked on the January 6th insurrection mob that assaulted the Capitol. Think about that for a second. 38,000 employees at the FBI. How many do you think worked on that case? 5,000 names. 5,000 names they want to disclose. It's understandable that these FBI agents are worried. They realize that the people who were engaged in that mob action on the Capitol, many of them were dangerous people, despite the full pardon given to them by Donald Trump. Let me tell you about one of them, just to give you an example. And if you question whether the FBI agents should be reluctant to have their identities and
Basically, the question is, do they advance Patel, through with the nomination for the director of the FBI or not. And right now, Durbin is saying no.
The identities of their families made public. His name was Guy Reffitt. He was the first defendant to stand trial on charges related to January 6. Sentenced to 87 months in prison for bringing a firearm into the Capitol that day. Reffitt's 19-year-old son, Jackson, turned him into law enforcement after the attack. Jackson also indicated that Reffitt had threatened to shoot him personally and his sister Peyton if they reported him to authorities. After receiving a pardon from President Trump, Reffitt attended Kash Patel's Senate Judiciary Committee meeting in this room. He posted on social media the following, and I quote, "Present and in support of Kash Patel, as the leftist commies continue to spew lies, misinformation, and disinformation, my man, clean house Kash." We are inviting a political disaster if we put Kash Patel into this job. Can you imagine having worked for the FBI all your life, taking an oath that you're ready to give your life in defense of this country, be involved in all of the assignments that you were assigned to, and then comes a new president, Donald Trump, and wants to see the names of whether you were one of the people who was involved in the January 6th investigation, the largest criminal investigation in the history of the United States. I think this is outrageous. If we have respect for these agents, show it. To invite this political warfare that's been described already this morning is to the detriment of the men and women who are risking their lives for us in this agency. We have a list here of 6 executive assistant directors who have been purged already from the FBI. I asked the FBI agents, has this ever happened before with a new president? No, never happened before. These are top FBI officials who oversaw the FBI's work combating international and domestic terrorism, cybercrime, drug trafficking, and violent crime. In the FBI's long history, this has never happened before. Keep in mind, one political appointee, the director, all others career. The leaders who've been forced out are all career FBI officials who've worked their way up in the ranks and have decades of experience. And that's only the beginning. Acting Director, Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove, apparently acting at Mr. Patel's direction, has asked for a list of FBI personnel who worked on any matters relating to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. He is the
no way. We got Teacup in here. Good to see you, by the way. Hopefully you're doing good over there on the Twitch side.
Transition leader.
Good to see you. It's been a long time.
Transition leader for the Trump administration. Meanwhile, 1,600, including one of the individuals I just described to you, January 6 defendants who were given blanket pardon by Trump are on the loose. Think about that. A man who brought the gun into the Capitol, 87-month sentence, blanket pardon by Donald Trump, and now they wanted full disclosure of the names of the FBI agents who were involved in this case.
Man, you should come over to the YouTube side, by the way, Teak. You should come over. This is where I do everything on YouTube now. But all one word, @InsaneWheels. Come and hang out with us.
It is outrageous that these sworn FBI agents, who were simply doing the jobs assigned to them, now fear for their livelihoods and their safety and the safety of their families. It is unacceptable for a nominee with no role in government to personally direct the unjustified, potentially illegal firing of dedicated.
By the way, everybody, hit that fucking like button. You don't have to like this prattle going on right now, but you guys can like it for me and my takes and what I've got to say, and also the platform itself. Appreciate you guys.
Nonpartisan FBI officials. And if these allegations are true, Mr. Patel has come dangerously close to perjury before this Senate Judiciary Committee. Why do I say that? During the hearing, when he was asked about possible terminations of the FBI by Senator Booker, Mr. Patel said, "I don't know what's going on right now over there.
Yo, good morning, Brother Blair. Good to see you, my man. We got some shit going on right now, don't we, chat? This shit is fucking incredible.
Mr. Patel seems to be unable to wait for Senate confirmation to carry out his plan of retribution on behalf of President Trump. This is a private citizen, Patel, with no role in government, allegedly directing baseless firings of career public servants and then misleading this committee about his actions. Given the serious nature of these allegations, I've asked the DOJ Inspector General to investigate. I urge my Republican colleagues to take these allegations seriously. I know you want to be loyal to your president. I know you want to vote for all of his nominations. I know none of you want to call from Elon Musk reminding you what he might do to somebody who votes the wrong way. But this really gets down to the heart of the future of an agency that is critical to the security of this nation. This is not the only time Mr. Patel misled the committee. Under oath, at his hearing, he implausibly told me he could not recall the name Stu Peters, an anti-Semitic Holocaust denier. Patel,
Do me a favor, look up what time that starts. Depending on what time it starts, I may cover it.
Said, I can't
if it's within the next 30 minutes, I'll do it.
Call his name. This is simply not credible, considering that Mr. Patel appeared on Mr. Peters' podcast 8 times. Couldn't pick the name out of it. Stu Peters? No, I don't think I know that man. 8 times. And Mr. Peters has since revealed that he and Mr. Patel directly communicate via their personal cell phones, quote, constantly, close quote. Stu Peters? Say the name again? Don't recognize it. Mr. Patel also claimed he didn't have anything to do with the recording of the so-called January 6th prison choir, those who were convicted of assaulting people and trespassing on the United States Capitol on January 6th. Here's what he told Steve Bannon, and I quote, "We got this idea to record the January 6th prisoners who recite the national anthem every night."
Oh my fucking God. Are you fucking serious right now? Oh my God.
Emotional damage. Stupid.
Oh my God, yo.
Steve Bannon, and I quote, "We got this idea to record the January 6th prisoners who recite the national anthem every night from the DC prison. Then we took that to the studio, so we mastered and digitized it." And he said he had nothing to do with it under oath. Mr. Patel has demonstrated a lack of sound judgment by his...
Yo, Briar Wolf coming in fucking hot, by the way, with the 20 spot, man, saying thank you for covering this stuff, Mike. I don't have the time to keep up with all of it on my own. Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Sincerely. Cheers to you, kind sir. Always appreciate your contributions. Man, thank you very much, kind sir. It goes a long way.
Associating with extremist figures like Mr. Peters, who have
on this note, I'm grabbing another beer.
Documented histories of racist, anti-Semitic, and conspiratorial statements. But now, somehow, my colleagues on the other side are silent. Mr. Patel clearly lacks the temperament to lead the FBI. Don't take it from me. Read his own words. I wonder if any of my Republican colleagues accepted my invitation to read this book, and I did read it. Government Gangsters. In this book, Mr. Patel published an enemies list of 60 people whom he calls, quote, members of the deep state, whatever the hell that is, and accuses of being, quote, corrupt actors of the first order. This list includes many distinguished public servants.
We got the beer skis, everybody. We just had to do a quick little pause. Shit. Appreciate you, Briar Wolf, by the way. And I see you, Teak, in the chat, man. Good to see you. Hopefully you're having a fantastic morning. Cheers to everybody. Hopefully everyone's doing fantastic. All right, back to this.
Both Democrats and Republicans alike. What they share in common is the misfortune of having crossed paths with Patel. There's one of them I'm going to highlight, and many of the people on the panel know him, Bob Mueller. Bob Mueller is an extraordinary man. Yes, he's a Republican. Yes, I voted for him to be director of the FBI. He finished his college
Yeah, that's too late from now.
career and enlisted in the Marine Corps to serve in Vietnam. He received a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star for his combat duty. Came back, worked as a prosecutor, worked his way up in the Department of Justice, and became the director of the FBI. He took over just days after 9/11. I worked with him for years. I respect him completely, and we all should respect him, if for nothing else, his service to our country in combat in Vietnam. And now he is on the enemies list of Kash
Oh yeah,
Patel.
that's right. That's right. My bad. Yeah, it's evening time for you.
Mr. Patel gives no quarters when he disagrees with someone. He's called Democrats, quote, vindictive, evil, and vicious. And then there is his social media posts repeatedly attacking Republican senators for not voting right and not following MAGA orthodoxy. During the previous administration, my Republican colleagues were outraged by Biden judicial nominees' social media posts. And they deemed poetry written by a nominee in college 30 years ago as disqualifying him to serve on the bench because it showed, quote, Marxist ideology. 30 years ago, wrote a poem. Be careful. Where's the outrage now for Mr. Patel, who has launched disgusting attacks on everyone from Elon Musk to LeBron James? Mr. Patel
Exactly,
has also displayed a
Mr.
startling disdain for the agency he's been nominated to lead. He wants to, quote, shut down the FBI, Hoover Building on day one, reopen it the next day as a museum of the deep state, quote, unquote. He falsely claimed that the FBI was planning January 6th for a year before it happened. His conspiratorial theories just keep bounding out in his book and otherwise. He can't stop. And he's been clear about what he wants to do with the FBI's vast surveillance and investigative power, saying, quote, we're going to come after the people in the media. Mr. Patel has been open about his plans to dismantle the FBI and seek retribution. And he's already begun that mission as a private citizen, targeting senior FBI officials. Consider for a moment, if he is successful in this nomination, his first meeting of the head of the as head of the FBI with the men and women who are sworn to uphold the law and serve at his direction. Think about the morale in that room in light of what's going on.
Jesus.
Mr. Patel directives
Wrap it up.
Have already thrown the Bureau into chaos. Senior executives who collectively have hundreds of years of experience have been forced out. Thousands of line agents across the country are living in fear of losing their jobs simply because they did the job they were assigned to do. How does any of this make America safer? The American people need an FBI director focused on keeping the public safe from terrorism, drug trafficking, and violent crime, not petty personal grievances. I yield.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that was Senator Dick Durbin as we have the Senate Judiciary Committee meeting ahead of that vote to advance Kash Patel as director of the FBI. We're going to head to a quick break, but a lot more coming up.
We're going
in
right,
just a few.
going right through that motherfucker.
Mr. Patel's writings.
Oh man, here we go. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. All right. If you guys drink, right now would probably be the time.
Deserve a director who respects the work that they do and who embodies the core values of the FBI. That, unfortunately, is not Kash Patel. Let's start with fidelity. A director's loyalty to the American people, the Constitution, and the rule of law is paramount. But Mr. Patel made it abundantly clear that he is loyal to the president, and that is his calls for retribution. When you look back at Mr. Patel's writings, at his interviews, at what he has done in his life, that his focus is the loyalty to the president and not to the people of this country. Mr. Patel has threatened the president's critics. As he said, I quote his words, not just in the government, but in the media, end quote. On one podcast in December 2023, he said, and I quote, we're going to come after you, whether it's criminally or civilly. On a podcast just last August, I know sometimes our colleagues, we have.
Oh my God. Here we go with the podcast.
Writings, or we have interviews of people that are 10, 15 years ago. These are all recent. Just this August, he said, when Trump wins in 2024 and is in power in 2025, we can prosecute them, referring to Justice Department officials.
Yeah, you can.
And when I
They can.
asked him about it in my written questions, he replied about that comment. He replied that, quote, he made those comments in a television interview, not in a court of law or before the committee, as if the venue minimizes the threat. And in fact, at his hearing before this committee, he had opportunity to walk back that threat and others. He chose not to. Nor did he try to explain his so-called deep state list of former government officials, including many Republicans who served in the last Trump administration, including Attorney General Barr, who Republicans on this committee have repeatedly commended for his service. But he is on, Barr is on, Kash Patel's deep state list. He also criticized former CIA Director Gina Haspel, numerous elected officials, including the former head of Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough. I remind our colleagues on the other side of the aisle that Bill Barr had said about Patel this: Patel has virtually no experience that would qualify him to serve at the highest level of the world's preeminent law enforcement agency. And his appointment to the FBI, he said a few years back when Patel was being considered for another job in the FBI, his appointment to the FBI would only happen, Barr's words, over his dead body. Then CIA Director Gina Haspel also threatened to resign to stop Patel from being her deputy. These and many others who have criticized him over time are people who have served our country. I didn't always agree with some of them. Some are Democrats, some are Republicans, but they have repeatedly said the same thing, that he should not be running the FBI. And we know what Mr. Patel wants to do with the people on that list because he already told us on another podcast episode. He said the people on his list need to go to prison. That is a shocking statement from someone who may be the next head of the FBI. And it's not just government officials, but the press as well. As you know, Mr. Chairman, I care deeply about an independent press.
At this point, I just hear a lot of
emotional damage
And the First Amendment. Mr. Patel, though, has referred to the media as, quote, the most powerful enemy the United States has ever seen. He didn't even say that one on a podcast. He said it in a speech at the Conservative Political Action Conference on February 23rd, 2024. Think about that. He is saying that the press, with many here standing up for the First Amendment, he's saying the press is the most powerful enemy the United States has ever had. Not China, not Russia, not Iran, not
glare. 1,000 motherfucking percent on either side. Unbiased. Absolutely. If they committed crimes that warrant prison, yeah. What's the argument? You know what I mean?
terrorists. But he says the most powerful enemy is the press. And I would ask my colleagues how they can justify voting for this man who would say such a thing as the director of the FBI that constantly deals with domestic threats
Dang
that
it,
come from
Papa.
afar and come from people.
Damn it, Papa. I'm pretty sure most Americans would trust a random drug dealer more than they trust Congress. Yeah, W, Papa.
Who are, in fact, affiliated with terrorist groups in these countries. How do we know Mr. Patel will carry out the revenge agenda? Well, it is already occurring. At his hearing, Mr. Patel did say, quote, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. And yet, mere hours after those remarks, the administration forced out 8 of the Bureau's most senior career public servants who serve in nonpartisan roles. One day later, an email was sent to FBI employees requesting a list of everyone who had worked on January 6 cases to determine whether any additional personnel actions are necessary. That's their quote. Think about this. Thousands of agents, maybe people who had just joined the FBI are asked to work on a case. It happens all the time. Anyone in a workplace knows what I am talking about. But in this case, if you are affiliated with any kind of case that Mr. Patel did not like in the past, well, then you need to be on some list. They get assigned to a case because a violent felony occurred on January 6th. Everyone in this room that was there know exactly what I'm talking about. People assaulted
Jesus Christ. Cry me a fucking river.
police officers. And now those agents who were simply doing their job find themselves on a list for personnel action. That is not right. That will not make Americans safe, and that will destroy.
Jan 6 has just been now used as a political pawn. That's like a political thing they can always throw up for almost anything. Yeah, it's often used, as you guys can see, by the left.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation. This isn't fidelity to the Constitution. This isn't fidelity to the rule of law and impartial law enforcement. It is an affront to it. That's fidelity. Second,
That's the whole fucking thing, Dirty. She don't know jack shit about work. She don't know shit about it. She can't relate to none of us. Come on. Come on.
bravery. Let's talk about bravery. Now, we all know that Capitol Police showed bravery far and above the call of duty on January 6, 2021. Every one of the members of this committee have talked about the fact that the police officers protected us and were brave. But rather than recognize the officers' bravery, Mr. Patel accused those who testified, officers, on January 6th of lying. When asked if Capitol Police officers told the truth in the January 6th committee hearings, Mr. Patel said, and I quote, "No, and lying under oath is a federal offense and they should be investigated for it." Yet he claimed at his hearing that this wasn't accurate. We have it on tape. It's literally on YouTube on the Joe Pack Show, 5/29/2024 at minute 2:57. You know who else exemplifies bravery? The men and women at the FBI who every day put their lives on the line and
That's
keep
right,
us
Dean.
safe. What does Kash Patel think of these public servants? He wrote that, again, I quote, "The FBI has become so thoroughly compromised that it will remain a threat to the people unless drastic measures are taken," end quote. He has called the men and women who keep us safe, quote, "utterly corrupt," and called for a, quote,
Dude, this is such a fucking cope session. Oh my goodness.
comprehensive housekeeping, end quote, of the FBI. That's from his book, page 73 and page
Anson.
85. He also called for shutting down the FBI headquarters. And you know what happens at that headquarters? This is where they coordinate the investigations of complex cases, including terrorism and cybercrime. Happened on the Sean Ryan Show, 9/2/2024. What are the facts? Under Christopher Wray's leadership, who was a Trump appointee, the morale of the agents and personnel at the FBI has improved significantly. 3 times as many people are applying to the FBI under Christopher Wray's leadership and during his term than when he started. 3 times the number. How can you say there's some horrible corruption? People actually want to go work there. They want to be an FBI agent. They think that it is a job of public service, that is an honorable job. I don't think the FBI is a threat to the people or utterly corrupt,
Oh my God, yes it is.
as Kash Patel has said, and I actually don't think our colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle believe this either. I think that they admire the people that work at the FBI.
No, I don't.
The men and women of the FBI show us every day what it means to
I don't admire any 3-letter agency.
embody bravery. And now we need to show them that we can be brave as well and tell the president no. And if our colleagues on the Republican side on this committee will not join us in just saying no one time to the president, maybe some of them will join us in the greater Senate body on the floor. So that brings us to integrity, FBI. The FBI runs on facts. It runs on truth. Without truth, the whole system breaks
What the fuck do you know about the truth, lady?
down. And Mr. Patel in his hearing made abundantly clear why this nation should be so concerned about putting someone in this job for whom there is such a lack of trust. Mr. Patel.
Yo, I'm still waiting for my sandwich. Where's my sandwich, lady?
Patel did not even have the integrity to stand by his own words to this committee. His own words. Repeatedly, I asked about these statements. Own them.
Now that is fucking funny. Right as I say that shit, you fucking put that in. That is fucking comical.
Man, just say, yeah, I said it. I believe that. I believe we should shut down the FBI headquarters. I believe they're all corrupt. These are things that he has said, not 10 years ago, not when he was a student, in the last year. Instead of disavowing or providing the explanations for reckless past statements, Kash Patel repeatedly misled this committee, dodged questions, and claimed ignorance, despite the fact that all of his statements are on the record for all of us to see. How can we have an FBI director that doesn't even remember what he said 6 months ago? The director of our nation's most powerful law enforcement agency must be forthright and trustworthy. He must follow the facts and carefully analyze evidence before drawing conclusions. Mr. Patel has made clear that his allegiance is not to the truth. He has put ideology and his loyalty to Donald Trump ahead of the facts. Mr. Chairman, independence of the FBI from the White House is critical. The FBI director has immense power to direct surveillance, investigate American citizens, and recommend when charges be brought. The next director's loyalty must be to the people and not the president. And even if someone was to put in
Come
someone
on,
who
get
is
it over
their friend,
with.
which has happened in these jobs in the past, why would you pick this person who has repeatedly maligned the agents that work at the FBI? Why would you pick someone who in the last year decided to make money off of hawking a supplement that he claimed would reverse the effects of the COVID vaccine? Why would you put someone in place that thinks it's fun to say you should close down the headquarters and has put together a list of people that he hates, that he says he wants to take revenge on? Why would you pick that person of all the people you could pick for this office that maybe you even know or you've worked with before? But Donald Trump picked this person, and I think we know why. The fact is, federal law enforcement and the American people deserve a director who embodies the Bureau's model: fidelity, bravery, integrity. The men and the women of the FBI deserve better than this nominee, and I ask our Republican colleagues to stand up for the agents that work there and to stand up and say no once.
Good point, Papa. All right, that is enough. I can't handle this shit no more. We're not even going to find out today anyways, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have to wait. And usually these things, it may take a couple of days to figure this out. We're not going to know this today. We're not going to know this today. And if we do happen to know today, it'll be like later on this afternoon. You know what I mean? So listen, ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We're going to be rating a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you guys enough for making this very shit happen, man. And without you guys, I can't fucking do this. I'm living a fucking passion and a dream, man. And you guys made that fucking shit possible. So I can't thank you guys enough. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. You know what I mean? As well as follow my Instagram right here at Ball Valve TV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my lifestyle, but of the show, as well as Millennial Food Time. This is like better than my phone number. So, yeah, man. As well, if you guys are interested in Discord at all, I've got the link in the description of all my videos. So always appreciate you guys. And until tomorrow morning, we'll see you guys. And for more of the world's madness, God bless to everybody and have a wonderful and safe day. Be good out there.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burns.